House Speaker Greg Fergus is in hot water for doing what we've all been saying he's done all along, being nonpartisan. Let's get into it.
Oh, yeah!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. When it comes to the House Speaker, or at least our newest House Speaker, Greg Fergus, I've had mixed reviews, obviously, since reporting on how, well, it's a little funny that somebody so strongly linked to the Liberals who has very left-leaning opinions and has also been involved in scandals prior to becoming or I guess conflict of interest. I shouldn't say scandals. Since becoming the House Speaker. Now, again, those things were prior to becoming Speaker of the House, but, well, it doesn't surprise me now that he's in a little bit of hot water over addressing the Ontario Liberals over the weekend. Now, he did this from his own office, the office of the Speaker of the House, while he was in his robes as the House Speaker, which really says that he's not following the rules that appear to be governing the Canadian government and the House of Commons, that states that the House Speaker is supposed to be nonpartisan at all times. It's important that the Speaker is nonpartisan so that we know that there's no favoritism being shown to one party or the other. But of course, Greg Fergus, if you think back to when Justin Trudeau was so excited the day that Greg Fergus became the Speaker, and he gave him that very cringeworthy wink and his tongue sticking out like a snake, well, now we know why, because Greg Fergus obviously favors the Liberals, and it's of no surprise that, that he's now being asked to step down by both the Conservative Party and the Bloc, while the NDP are saying, well, let's not be so harsh, guys. But let's take a look at what's going on. Before we get into the video of Andrew Scheer calling out what's happened here to get everybody a little more up to date as to what's going on, I wanted to point out that as I looked for an article discussing what is going on, take a look at this here. And now here's CTV and here's Global, which of course, when you search for news on a search engine like Google and based on Justin Trudeau's censorship laws, you're going to find prostitutes that are well funded by the government. And I just wanted to show their article headlines because isn't this hilarious? House Speaker Greg Fergus apologizes for video message to Ontario Liberals. Global News' headline, House Speaker Fergus apologizes over video for message for Ontario Liberals. The two article headings are almost verbatim, word for word, minus the fact that this one left out the name Greg, but they both use Fergus. This one says Greg Fergus apologizes for video. Fergus apologizes over video. Both same message. One says to and one says for Ontario Liberals. But again, it just shows you how they're using the algorithms of the internet to essentially put them at the top of search engine results of Google alongside the promotion of the Canadian government saying, hey, these are our propaganda networks. This is who we're paying to shill our messages. God, like I know I've said before on the channel, folks, that, I like covering those sites, especially when it comes to CBC, CTV, Global, any of those guys, just because I find it hilarious while we all know the truth to see their spin on the articles. But I want to get into what happened today with Andrew Scheer when he called out what happened in the House of Commons. Now, Andrew Scheer did appear on other news outlets today, but I don't know what was going on in terms of interference. There was some kind of beeping or dinging going on in the background, and it's very distracting. So I'm just going to point out this video that we found over on TikTok that summarizes things very nicely as to what Andrew Scheer brought up in the House of Commons. Then we'll discuss. Let's get into it.
Very much, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I am rising on a very serious matter today. As you know, I have provided notice of a question of privilege concerning the Speaker's public participation in partisan events over this past weekend. I do note that in his statement earlier today, the Speaker has indicated that he is recusing himself from this matter, which clearly touches upon him and his conduct, and that he has indicated that he will follow the practices laid down in your October 19th, 2023 ruling.
So I just want to go back for a second here. There you can see the photo of him in his office, in his Speaker robe, addressing the Liberal Party of Ontario. Now, outlets are saying, well, he was congratulating somebody on their retirement. Is this really worth blowing out of the water? Absolutely it is. This is a huge conflict of interest when you're talking about partisanship. Let's continue.
23 ruling concerning recusals by the Speaker, found at page 17 635 of the debates. I recognize that in some instances, complaints about the Speaker, but more particularly those concerning rulings, should proceed by way of a motion placed on notice. But I believe the current circumstances amount to such a breach of the impartiality of the Chair that it warrants priority consideration by the House immediately. In Saturday morning's Globe and Mail, an article entitled "John Fraser Finishes His Time as Interim Ontario Liberal Leader as Party Elects Permanent Replacement," quote, written by Laura Stone, rather remarkably quotes the Speaker. Let me read the relevant paragraph. Quote, "He's demonstrated so much calm and conviction and resolve and determination, and he's held it all together at a very challenging time for our party." End quote. The Speaker of the House of Commons first met Mr. Fraser in 1989 while working in Ottawa. The article continues. He said, "Mr. Fraser will be remembered for experience, good judgment, and a real passion and authenticity." End quote. Who exactly is our party, Mr. Deputy Speaker? In any event, the partisan engagement didn't stop there. That afternoon, he appeared via video at the leadership election for the Ontario Liberal Party. Here is a sample of what he had to say in his 2-minute video greetings as part of the tribute to Mr. Fraser. Quote, "And boy, did we have fun. We had a lot of fun together through the Ottawa South Liberal Association, through Liberal Party politics, by helping Dalton McGuinty get elected. This was really a seminal part of my life. And when I think of the opportunities that I have now as being Speaker of the House of Commons, it's because of people like John."
So again, now Andrew's going to get into this, but what we're noticing here is the two slip-ups in these speeches. While people can say, well, he was congratulating somebody on a retirement, well, he was speaking out at a convention. He kept referring to himself as a liberal is the problem. He said that when we liberals, he says, when we helped get this person elected, you're referring to yourself as a liberal when you're supposed to be nonpartisan, which again shows where, I mean, look, we've all known from the beginning, this is where his lines are drawn in the sand. We know where he sides when it comes to government. Again, as it shows down on the bottom of this video, as this TikTok goes on, he's been caught violating ethics prior to becoming Speaker of the House. He's of no stranger to breaking the law. He hangs around with Justin Trudeau. This is just yet again, as this picture shows down below, oops, I did it again, another scandal. Like the Liberals, let me tell you something. We've seen John Chrétien with the sponsorship scandal. We've seen various things come up in politics over the years, but it seems like Justin Trudeau and his friends are very terrible at covering their tracks and at trying to at least not look guilty while being guilty. I don't know. They're just, a different cut of cloth, I guess you could say. Let's continue.
Remarks were introduced to the Liberal Convention as, quote, "a message from the Speaker of the House of Commons of Canada, un message du Président de la Chambre des Communes du Canada."
Wow.
He made these remarks from the Speaker's office in the West Block while dressed in his Speaker's robes. This conduct is simply unacceptable. It defies all long-standing traditions and expectations attached to the high office of Speaker. Late yesterday afternoon, the Speaker's office released a statement in his defense claiming, quote, "The Speaker acknowledges how this message could have been perceived," end quote. Exactly, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Perception is everything. House of Commons Procedure and Practice 3rd edition explains at page 323, quote, "The Speaker embodies the power and authority of the office, strengthened by rule and precedent. He or she must at all times show and be seen to show the impartiality required to sustain the trust and goodwill of the House," end quote. Continuing on to the next page, we read, quote, "In order to protect the impartiality of the office, the Speaker abstains from all partisan political activity." That because of the seriousness of this issue, I would urge the Chair to rule immediately and invite you, if necessary, to suspend the sitting, to take counsel from the clerks, and to prepare your ruling.
enough to go back and look at. I'm going to come back to the House on this one. There is a fair amount of information to look at, and it is incumbent upon me to come back as quickly as possible on this particular point.
So again, what we can see is that the usual House of Commons games are going to be played when it comes to what's going to happen here as things move forward. Again, I can already hear it in the comments that people are going to be saying, nothing's going to happen here. Nobody's going to be punished. Nothing bad's going to happen. I don't know, because again, now you've got the Bloc putting pressure on. Of course, not that I want to side with the Bloc after what they did to everybody in Canada with the carbon tax carve-outs, but you've got two parties now that ideally could overvote the NDP as well as the Liberal and their little coalition. Now, again, this doesn't shock me that this is the kind of behavior we see from Liberal Party members. That if you look at the Speaker of the House since his recent promotion, he's been on a bit of a power trip. We've seen him muting mics during the House of Commons. We've seen him picking favorites when it comes time to debate. We've seen him slander and push down the Conservatives again by cutting off microphones, by calling out really silly little gaffes and remarks. And again, this doesn't really surprise me, but I'm going to be curious to see what comes of this. Now, I'm interested to hear what you guys think is going to come of it with Greg Ferguson and what the House may do to him, but it looks like, again, another Liberal could possibly, hopefully, be being removed from his job as the Speaker of the House. As we're sitting on this video, I hope if it's your first time here, this video has earned your subscription. Just a reminder to folks as we end this video off that we do sell our books privately, direct outside of Amazon for anybody looking to get them. I know everybody's sick and tired of me pushing our products in the videos, but I'm leaving it to the end. For anybody who's looking to order these books as a Christmas gift, I just want to remind everyone that I've been told by Canada Post, as of the end of this week of filming of this video, so December the 8th, that is the last day coast to coast, Canada Post is pretty much guaranteeing people will receive their packages in time for Christmas. If you want to order our books online direct, our books are a higher markup than Amazon, but that's because I have to procure them, ship them out myself. Now, your Canada-wide shipping is included in the prices, and each one of our books does come signed. We do have bundles available for you guys, and again, I'm trying to fill orders as fast as I can. As I run out of stock, I'm still replenishing stock, but as we get closer to Christmas, it's going to be harder for me to fill that stock. And again, with the guarantees of delivery by Christmas, I would encourage anybody waiting to get these books. A lot of people have messaged me saying they want to order them as gifts. Order sooner than later. The last thing you want to do is be empty-handed when it comes to Christmas Day. And again, it's the best way to support this channel directly. Because, again, we can keep track of our sales. We know that there's no shadow banning or lost sales not being shipped out from Amazon. Again, folks, if it's your first time here, as you're clicking that subscribe button, make sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about the situation. And also, do the usual YouTube stuff. Share it out. Like the video. As you're clicking that subscribe button, if it's your first time here, make sure to hit your bell for notifications. Join us live every Sunday here on the channel at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, where we have our weekly wrap and go over everything that we've talked about this week, everything coming up in the week ahead, and a little bit of back and forth with my community. I look forward to seeing everybody there, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.